And a good Thursday afternoon, everyone, from Olentangy Liberty High School. Welcome to week 13 of the high school football season. I'm Dave Purpura, along with Jarrod Ulrey, and our guest to begin the show here today is Patriots coach Steve Hale. As you guys are about 26 and a half hours, roughly, from 27 and a half from playing Dublin Kaufman in the Region 2 final. Coach, obviously familiar territory with you. It seems like you've really put together this nice run this season in a variety of ways, including leaning on your defense last week.
Oh, absolutely. Our defense played incredibly well last week. We've had a variety of different people stand up and do great things for us this season. We've had a challenging schedule. We faced a ton of adversity. We've played a ton of different guys at different times. So it's just been a kind of a roller coaster ride, and we're just really excited just to be here.
Yeah.
What's been some of the reasons you guys have been able to get through this adversity? I know you talked a little bit about you had some sickness going through your team earlier this year, and you've had some injuries to key players, stuff like that. I mean, why have you guys been able to?
I think it's the leadership of our seniors. I think they've been a solid group throughout. They were great role players as sophomores. They were great varsity and JV players as juniors, and their leadership this year. We have 33 seniors. Their leadership has been outstanding throughout the season. They've just done a tremendous job of staying focused every week.
I'm pretty sure we talked about this last year when it was 10 consecutive playoff periods, and now it's 11 and 16 seasons. Has it just kind of continued? I mean, kind of success building on success to be able to stay at this level?
Yeah, I think we talk about it early on as an expectation. I think over the years we've tried to build a very challenging schedule, and with that, you're prone to have losses early on in the season where you're going against real high-level competition. Our league play has been incredibly challenging. Our inter-district play has been incredibly challenging. So all of those things have, tested us, and every one of those situations you learn from. So we've had a lot of learning situations, and then, for this senior class, this is their 41st varsity football game in 3 years. So, that's just a ton of extra practice. It's a ton of extra reps, a ton of extra experiences that they get to learn from.
It's an extra season.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, we're on past an extra season.
So you got Kaufman tomorrow night. Any thoughts, keys to the matchup heading into this?
Oh, I mean, we're going to play really well. Crabtree does such a great job over there preparing his team. They're going to be very sound, fundamental of what they do. They have explosive players. Defensively, they're incredibly stingy. They tend to score on big plays and long drives both. We're going to have to just be mistake-free again. Penalties and turnovers are going to be crucial. And work to get first downs, and hopefully our defense can get off the field a lot like they did last week.
All right, well, hey, we'll let you continue preparation. Right. Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks
Thanks a lot, guys.
See you tomorrow night. All right, that's Olentangy Liberty coach Steve Hale. Patriots and Dublin Kaufman tomorrow night, the 4 seed against the 2 seed over at New Albany. I'll be there with Scott Hennon, who regularly covers the Shamrocks. You regularly cover Liberty here. Kaufman's 8-0. Not that is going to mean a heck of a lot come tomorrow night. I mean, very few of these kids were in that game in 2015, the last time that they played. But I mean,
I'm not sure any of them.
I would highly doubt it.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. But it's just one of those things. They used to be in a very good league when it was in the OCC Central together. But I guess when you get to the regional final, every matchup is intriguing in its own way.
Well, one thing when I was studying this game, it seems to me that these teams, when you don't include the records. I mean, yes, Liberty they had a few more struggles than Kaufman. They got 4 losses this year. Kaufman's got 1. But when you look at what makes these teams really good, they actually are very similar. Liberty and Kaufman both have outstanding defenses. They have kind of like a group of about 3 or 4 wide receivers that are all capable of making big plays for them. They don't have anybody that has like 60 catches or anything. Neither one of them do. But they both have a couple. They both have like 3 or 4 guys that can catch the ball for them. They both have a running back who is really solid. I mean, Aiden Kenley is a solid running back for Liberty. He's got 990 yards this year. So, and then of course they both got quarterbacks that are capable of doing a little bit of everything. Mitchell Oakley's capable of doing quite a bit. I think he's rushed for 13 touchdowns this year. He's not really a running quarterback, but he's been effective when they needed him to be. And Ethan Brown is kind of a dual threat quarterback. So I think there's a lot of comparisons between them.
Absolutely. Kaufman's first regional final since 2009, which kind of surprised me when I was looking at this.
Surprised me too.
Consistently successful as they've been, this is a big step for them, and obviously it'd be a much bigger step for them tomorrow night if they can get this done.
Yeah, I mean, the last few seasons, I think Kaufman has felt like, hey, we're on the cusp of being a really great team, and they couldn't quite get there. And this is kind of their chance. I mean, this is the best chance they've had in a while, obviously. And Liberty is a veteran team. I mean, they're, as we were talking about, they've got lots of guys that have been here, been in these huge games before. One thing that's going to be interesting is, I mean, Liberty's one of their best offensive linemen might not be playing tomorrow night. Alex Azusanis has been banged up. So that, you know, I don't know how much of a factor that'll be. Yeah, I think it's got the makings of being a really, maybe like a 17-14 type of game, 20-17, something like that. And maybe the lower scoring, the better for Liberty. I think if their defense could really do the job out there, they've got a real chance.
Well, they got it done in a 10-0 game last week, in
Right.
which they were outgained by over 100 yards against
Yeah.
Reynoldsburg, and still managed to win. The winner tomorrow night will play Mentor or Lakewood St. Ed's in a state semifinal next Friday. Ireland Field would be a logical location. We won't find that out till Sunday.
I mean, yeah, Liberty played Mentor last year in a state semifinal. Very great. It was a really great game, actually.
Yeah.
27-21. So let's see what happens.
Absolutely. And you mentioned Kaufman with only one loss earlier. Well, their only loss was to a team that we're about to talk about. In Hilliard-Davidson, they are taking on Pickerington Central in the Region 3 final tomorrow night over at Gahanna. You will be at that game along with Frank Dorena. I think, with all apologies to everybody else in this region, I think this was a regional final a lot of people were expecting, even though Pickerington Central has that 6 number in front of their name.
Maybe.
It sure hasn't mattered. I mean, so far, you saw them last week. 3 pick sixes wowed a lot of people in this area when seeing the updates, and they rolled past Clayton Northmont. Davidson got it done against Springfield. Your thoughts on the Tigers and the Wildcats tomorrow?
Well, Pickerington Central, when they get to this time of year, it seems like they know how to turn it up another notch. I mean, especially on defense. I mean, this is a championship defense.
Yeah.
For sure this year. Do they have enough on offense? Will they be able to make enough big plays? That's kind of the question. And will Davidson be able to keep them from making big plays? Because that, you know, when Pickerington Central made their big run last year, Dimitri Crenshaw was a difference maker for them.
Yeah.
Will Davidson be able to keep him from getting out and running? I mean, so far this year, Crenshaw's been solid, but they haven't, you know, teams have been limiting him a little bit more than they were last year. And of course, Davidson has got a great defense as well.
They're only allowing 9.8 points a game, and this is a rematch, of course, of a game back in that rain lightning addled week 5 back on September 21st. Central won that game.
Right.
17-14 in
Could have gone
overtime.
either way, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And Davidson, it sounds like could be short a couple guys tomorrow night from what Frank Dorena was reporting earlier
You
this
said
week.
Jordan Hicks and Evan Honest are both probably out tomorrow night. Now, of course, Davidson is a system team. So, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that in a positive way. Because they can probably overcome a loss like a Jordan Hicks and still be okay. I mean, they're got Christian Sweet. He's rushed for 600 yards. Maybe they just give him the ball a few more times.
Well, Caleb O'Connor possibly could be doing even more than he does as well. I was thinking that could be something that kind of falls on those guys' shoulders. The winner of this one gets Coleraine and Elder, or Elder, in a state semifinal next week. Again, I'll throw out the guess. I'd say Welcome Stadium would be a logical place. We won't know until Sunday.
Logical.
But it's, I mean, no real surprise how these regions match up. It's 1 against 2 and 3 against 4, just kind of the way things go. You know, Coleraine is an undefeated team.
Man, they're good.
If it comes
from
to
everything you hear.
Yeah. And if it comes to it, we'll talk about them next week, as well as the other matchups, whatever that is. But, you know, just kind of giving you the lay of the land there. A team that we talked to last week. Last week at this time, we were talking with Eastmore. You know, they went out and pulled it off against Hartley, held them to, less than 100 yards, I believe, total. And they get Thornville-Sheridan in a regional final, Region 11, tomorrow night down at Lancaster.
Talk about gutting out a win. I mean, they lost basically 3 running backs last week.
Yeah, shorthanded.
So, what kind of health are they going to have this week? That's a question for them. Is Savon Edwards going to play? Is Tyree Grace Sawyer or Cameron Long? Are either one of those guys going to be available? Maybe they've got enough athletes in that program. They probably can still be okay.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Of course, Thornville-Sheridan is kind of a pounded at you type of team, running type of team, and they've kind of been the surprise of the region, really. I mean, I guess Eastmore, on paper, beating Hartley. I mean, that is an upset on paper, I think it probably was maybe only a little bit of an upset.
Mm-hmm. Well, they knocked off higher seeds the whole way. They beat Bellbrook in the first
That's
round
right.
down there. They beat Granville last week at White Field. Just the thing that I've been hearing about them is they have a lot of speed, and I was talking to people. My dad, and my parents live in Thornville, and they've talked to some people who know more about the team, and saying that speed has been a real big asset for them all year long. I mean, and it sure seems as much, especially
Well, they're
with
going
the
to need
numbers.
it this week.
Absolutely, I think that makes this a really intriguing matchup. Eastmore with a fast offense, and Sheridan's going to bring speed, I would imagine, on defense to be able to limit opponents to what they have so far this year.
Yeah, their quarterback Ethan Heller, he's kind of a dual threat type of quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a big key for Eastmore is how do they contain him? How do they keep him from getting out and running? I mean, that's always a big key in these matchups because the quarterbacks they're so important when you get to this level.
Mentioning a couple of matchups from just outside of our coverage area going into Division 4, you have top seeded St. Clairsville. It's 10-0. They'll be taking on Licking Valley, the 7th seed, which is 9-3. That is Region 15. That's Saturday night at Zanesville. Saturday night down at Centerville, it'll be Cincinnati, Wyoming against London. Any thoughts on either of these Division 4 matchups?
Well, as far as the Licking Valley St. Clairsville matchup, I tried to do a little bit of studying on St. Clairsville. They're a team that's very big physically, and that's going to be a big test for Licking Valley. I mean, one thing I was surprised about was Licking Valley hasn't actually been to a regional final since 2008.
Yeah, that is surprising.
Which, I mean, because they've been a great program for a long time, I think for 30 years.
Yeah.
So, to see, it's kind of like Kaufman. It's like, wow, you keep thinking that they're in these regional championship games every year. I mean, this is big for them to even get this far. They've got an all-Ohio lineman, Jarrod Hufford. Got a really great running back in Connor McLaughlin. So, how can they take advantage of that, utilize that? And say, they're going to be going against a St. Clairsville team that's got a running back. His name is Brady Kolb. He's rushed for 31 touchdowns and 1,800 yards. So, I think we're going to see a lot of running Friday in that game.
Okay.
As far as the London game, I mean, we've talked from time to time about KJ Price. They've actually got another really good running back who started to stand out here, Brennan Spees, rushed for about 165 yards last week. So London's going to try to grind it away, control the clock, and they're playing against Cincinnati, Wyoming teams 12-0.
Mm-hmm. London beat Clinton Massey, I believe, last week.
They
If I
did.
get my opponents right, and that was a
And
team
it was
that
28-7. I mean, Clinton Massey's good.
Well, I mean, they beat Hartley earlier
Yeah.
this year, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll definitely a quality matchup in both of those tomorrow on Saturday night. I believe this one is Saturday night as well. Johnstown against Byesville Meadowbrook in Region 19. The Johnnies are the top seed; they're 11-1. Byesville Meadowbrook, the alma mater of our Scott Hennon, is 9-3. Meadowbrook, something that jumped out to me, they racked up 522 total yards against West Lafayette Ridgewood last week. They have a senior running back named Brady Blattner who accounted for 5 touchdowns, 280 all-purpose yards, 155 of them on the ground. And Johnstown is looking to get their 9th win in a row and to slow down another team that can run pretty much as well as they do.
Johnstown has been they've been in the playoffs a lot the last few years. When they get to the regional final, they've not really been able to get over that barrier. They've only been in one state semifinal. That was 2011. So maybe this is their year that they're able to break through. They're going against a Meadowbrook team that before this year was 0-2 in playoff games. I mean, this is brand new to them.
So they played as many this year as they ever had.
Yeah, this is brand new to them, basically. So how will they handle this, being in this atmosphere? That's going to be a big question for them.
They've won 7 in a row after they started 2-3. A couple of teams whose season ended last week, 2 of our more recent visits here. Whitehall fell in a regional semifinal with Massillon. Hartley, of course, we talked about losing to Eastmore Academy. Any thoughts on the seasons that those teams put together?
Yeah, I mean, just there's nothing to be ashamed about losing in a regional semifinal. And especially the teams they lost to. I mean, Whitehall gave Massillon really a pretty good game. That game was a lot closer than it looked. I mean, 35-17, but it was a lot closer than it looked. And then also, want to mention Harvest Prep, another solid season for them, going 11-1 this year. They lost 7-0 to Gloucester Trimble. That matchup might have taken like an hour and a half. I don't know. But it was, real good season. That's a great program that they got going out there at Harvest Prep. And they're going to be back next year. I mean, they had a lot of juniors and sophomores playing.
We will be back in I guess it'd be 4 days.
4 days.
Maybe I can try and do my math. On Monday, we're going to be somewhere talking about the state semifinals. We're not sure where yet. We're going to let everything play out tomorrow night, and we will let you know on social media over the weekend. That's our second to last show. Our final Facebook Live is going to be the week after that at our Fall Sports Awards banquet, something we're looking forward to. It's going to be 2 weeks from last night, the 28th. It was a great time last year. Looking forward to it
Yeah,
again.
we can hopefully talk to a few athletes while we're there, kind of give people a little bit of the highlights of who were the best athletes in Central Ohio in multiple sports.
Yeah, and all the fall sports will be accounted for. We announced the finalists last week. All the invitations have been sent out, and we're looking forward to putting that on the 28th coming up at Villa Milano. For Jarrod Ulrey and for Patriots coach Steve Hale, I'm Dave Purpura. So long, everybody.